today. Activism is a rent for living on the planet. Happy to see so many planet lovers amidst us today. I'm Smita Kulkarni, a member of HSR Citizen Forum, and I'll be the host today. Before we begin, I would like, with a few general instructions, please. We request everyone to keep their phones on silent and avoid discussing with each other. We will have time for networking after the session today. I also have been given timekeeping duties, so please don't mind if I hurry you up as required. So let's begin. It's time for showcase. I would like to invite on stage Dr. Meenakshi Bharat, who's a renowned gynecologist, a zero waste practitioner, advocate, and a member of Solid Waste Management Roundtable, to deliver the welcome address.
Good evening, good afternoon, everybody. It's absolutely my pleasure to be here all the way from Malleshwaram and to wish all of you an excellent evening, good discussion. We need to move this forward. We've been practicing, decentralized waste management from not in my backyard to yes in my backyard. It's been our mantra from 2009, and we want everybody to take it up. Here we are showcasing decentralized management, and we have been delighted to have had the support of MLA Satish Reddy, who has been over the last 10 years supporting us to make this decentralized management happen. It doesn't happen without political will. We have Dr. A.N. Yellappa Reddy, who's been the backbone supporting us since 2010, and it's amazing that he has the energy, the knowledge, and the will to spread it out among all of us. We have Mrs. Renuka Konchati, who has come from shows that is all the way from RMV second stage, behind the Indian Institute of Science. They have been practicing this for the last 15 years. I have Rupesh Kumar here, who is the contractor who has been helping us to do this, and it's pretty amazing that he has been on our side all this time. Most contractors will say, no, mix smart bidona, that is the best thing to do. Auru, he has actually been helping us to collect the waste decentralized. Of course, we have our star here, Dr. Shanti Tumala, who has been championing this, given up her profession and become a champion in solid waste management, and her voice really carries weight. So, and all of you members of the RWA, friends in the media, each one of you is an important spoke of our wheel for decentralized management. Welcome all of you to this wonderful discussion. I know we are a small number, but we are the number that's going to multiply and change India, and that's my wish for all of us here, to make it a better India that we will be living in. Thank you.
So we've been hearing about SWMRT. Some of you may be not aware of what is SWMRT, a Solid Waste Management Roundtable. I request Anu to play a small video, an explainer video on to introduce Solid Waste Management Roundtable to all of us.
Namaste, I am Vani Murthy from Solid Waste Management Roundtable, that is SWMRT. Our work is essentially to reimagine waste as a resource. We are a collective of SWM practitioners working on promoting decentralized, sustainable waste management and inclusive livelihoods. SWMRT embodies the spirit of voluntary engagement and participation driven through passion and commitment of all its members. Our members have been able to motivate and infuse the same values in communities and networks that they engage with remarkable outcomes. We start with essentials, that is advocacy for three-way segregation at source and decentralized waste management systems. We promote conversions of waste into compost and biogas and not waste to burn technologies. Mandate destination-based waste stream collection and transportation and promote measures to localize processing and minimize landfilling and dumping. Phase out non-recyclable products and packaging and move towards circular economy using the just transition principles and promote inclusion of the informal sector in recycling. Some of our most effective campaigns which have reached lakhs of people are Swachhagraha, 2-in-1 bag, Why Burn Waste, Sustainable Living, Sustainable Hygiene. And most popular programs have been the Swachhagraha Kalika Kendra, Yes in My Backyard, the Swachhagraha Compost Connect, Knowledge Circles, SWM in municipalities, and the Kaushalya Kalike. While there are difficulties, they present themselves with opportunities to make things better. We are all committed to making this world a better place. Join us in this endeavor by volunteering, donating, and amplifying the work that we have been doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Anu. Thank you, Meenakshi, for the welcome address. We move on to our keynote speaker. It's my privilege to introduce our keynote speaker for today. It's Dr. T.M. Thomas Isaac, a distinguished Indian economist and politician. He's made significant contributions to Kerala's socio-economic development through his illustrious career, serving multiple terms as a member of Legislative Assembly and holding the esteemed position of Finance Minister of Kerala on enormous occasions. Dr. Isaac has demonstrated expertise in economic matters and policy formation. His advocacy for sustainable waste management practices has led to remarkable progress in Kerala, with a strong emphasis on community participation and waste segregation. Dr. Isaac's leadership in promoting equitable growth, environmental conservation, and community engagement has garnered widespread recognition and serves as a model for addressing complex environmental challenges, leaving his enduring legacy of progress and sustainability in Kerala and beyond. So Dr. Isaac has sent his address via video that will be played now.
Congratulations, team, for your success. It's indeed a Congratulations, team, for your success. It's indeed a remarkable success. Congratulations, team, for your success. It's Congratulations, team, for your success. It's indeed a remarkable success for a war in a metropolitan city, striking out a lonely furrow, sticking to the ideal of decentralized waste management, and be successful in it, not just 1 year or 2 years, for 9 years. It shows, one, your determination, commitment, and also the willingness of the population to understand the ideals that you are espousing and cooperate with them. I regret I cannot make it to your event today and had to speak to you online because of some prior commitment in Kerala, which forces me to stick back here. The reason I regret not being there is that I have always been committed to decentralized waste management for the last, say, nearly 15 years. I've been a virtual activist in it. And I'm happy to say the government of Kerala today adopts broadly decentralized waste management, though they have also proposed certain centralized structures in major metropolitan cities. But by and large, even today, decentralized waste management at source is the key approach of the state government in Kerala. Now, this adoption of this approach was because of the tremendous debate and discussion in the state, and also successful innovations made by many municipalities, and their success and performance in making their urban environment clean and neat. So this played a very, very important role. In fact, the town I used to work, Alapi, which obviously I think you have visited in 2016, was one of the pioneers in decentralized waste management. This is a major tourist town in Kerala, and traditionally for nearly 4 or 5 decades, all the town waste used to be dumped in a dumping yard in the neighboring village. But in around 2010, the people of the villages obstructed all movement of waste from the town to the village, and therefore the waste began to accumulate in the town. For some time, they simply dug up holes in the town in vacant lots and covered the waste up, which contaminated the groundwater. And also after some time, there was no vacant lot to dig up and cover the waste. So the entire waste came to be littered on the roads and in the numerous canals of the town. And it gained a very bad reputation for being an unclean city. So, being the elected representative there, MLA there, I had no choice, had to find a solution for this. One, transportation to a centralized waste management center outside town was out of question. People wouldn't allow that. So just to be done in the town itself. Now you couldn't have a large treatment facility within the city. Therefore, only choice was that all institutions and households process their organic waste in their own houses or institutions. So we began to search for appropriate technology, and initially we promoted biogas plants in every house. It is a big campaign. It was a city-wide program. In fact, the story started in 1 or 2 wards. Then we took up about 7 wards and made a model project for these 7 wards who were willing to come along. That was the criteria. The ward members and civic organizations organizations were willing to experiment with this. So the biogas plants were set up in larger number of houses, but very soon became very clear this technology didn't allow that kind of large-scale spread in an urban environment. This is also a very delicate technology. Too much of feed and too little of feed creates serious problems. And therefore, we decided, okay, if somebody doesn't want to process the organic waste in their house, then they have the choice of bringing it to a community aerobic bin. Very, very simple model of a big box with sufficient ventilation into which the waste is put, and with the dry leaves and with the cow dung inoculum. So it is composted, and that is very simple technology. And this became successful. People came to accept it. And virtually there is no foul smell for composting. Foul smell comes when there is composting does not take place. So by and large, this became accepted. The city waste was being treated or composted in neighborhoods, small plants. But now, after some time, a major change took place. We began to also focus upon encouraging people to process it in their house, but not through biogas plants, but the small-scale kitchen bins, once again composting. And there we use very effectively the coconut pith, which is to be traditionally a big waste, coconut pith treated with inoculum, and that is used for composting medium in the kitchen bins. It absolutely creates no foul smell, and also it does not create leachate. So this technological choice was very appropriate and popular. Today all over Kerala, variants of kitchen bins, household bins are being used. And major part of the composting takes place in these kitchen bins. And overall and above that, suppose somebody doesn't want to, then they have the choice of bringing to aerobic compost bins in the neighborhood. But it was also realized that the market waste and so on cannot be processed in this manner. And therefore, you also required town level, city level indoor composting yards. But it is not bringing all the waste to the city to compost, but the market waste and so on. So part of the market waste goes to feed for chicken or pigs and so on. Rest will be brought to the yard and composted. So in Kerala today we have a whole hierarchy of technologies. Indoor composting for the market and so on. Neighborhood aerobic bins for those who do not want to compost in the house. And within the house we are encouraging kitchen bin. Now the focus is upon non-organic waste. That has to be collected from the house by service providers who will have to be paid by the household a monthly sum. And they bring it to mini MCFs set up in every ward where it is a preliminary segregation take place and taken to main segregation yard where sometimes mechanical devices are used for segregation. And then segregated waste is given to processors who will transmit them out of the city. So this is broadly the system that is working. I feel, very clear, a large number of towns and villages, this is effectively working. Our focus is now slowly shifting to wastewater management and grey and aside. Now the key question that arises is, why were we able to scale it up in state level? Why your successful experiment could not be scaled up in Bangalore City? Now, by the way, I don't think your notion that the Alapin model is top-down is appropriate. Maybe because of my role in that, the MLA, you think it's a top-down approach. No, it was not a city-wide program. It was, in fact, an experiment that started in one or two wards in the town and done by volunteers and community organizations and supported by Kudubasri particularly. It is only later the municipality owned it up and became a project of the municipality. So this is something that started from below. And after all, I don't think it is quite right to think about municipality and local government as a top-down institutions. It may have some reason for characterizing like that in a large metropolis or large city, because the scale, the participation of people are very difficult, and therefore it looks like a mini state government here with a budget and bureaucracy and so on. But you can never call a panchayat body or a small municipal town as a centralized institution and so on. This is part of the participatory decentralized governance system. In fact, that is one aspect that we take great pride in, that we have been able to have a democratic decentralization in the state. But that aside, the question still remains, why we were able to scale up. We were able to scale up for the simple reason that this waste management became a part of the mainstream political debate and discussions. I myself am a leader of a political party and a functionary, and there are many like me who are involved, and therefore this became a part of the mainstream, sort of something on the fringe. And because the state government had no other way, because centralized systems failed, and people just does not allow any centralized system to they protest. Kerala protests are very welcome, and therefore the government itself has no choice other than to adopt it. So the political environment in Kerala played a very important role in scaling it up. And also, before it becomes adopted by the state government, a number of other municipalities and panchayats adopted effectively the decentralized waste management system. That also helped to scale up. But I think you in Bangalore face a city government that just does not believe in participatory decentralized waste management and sources. And we have not been able to bring it to the mainstream political debate and process. That might be, I don't know enough about me to make a judgment. But I think in Kerala, our experience is that scaling up becomes very important when there is a state government and also civic organizations who believe in a more decentralized system. So that I think is an important lesson. Kerala has the best decentralized governance system, and that also helped us. But nevertheless, as I said at the beginning, that you have been successful to hold on to your experiment in a most effective manner for the 9 years, a very, very predictable achievement. I hope the present event that is taking place will enable you to draw the right lessons, showcase perhaps, attract other local governments to adopt successfully achieved.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas, for truly, talking about reliving the experience of having to deal with central waste systems and how, the decentralized waste system in LP and subsequently Kerala has evolved. One of the things, the way he spoke, true green politician, where he actually understood the process of composting. One of the things that I really loved was composting doesn't smell. It smells when it does not compost. So all of us who have tried it, can vouch for it. And of course, the participatory model, which we have done in HSR, is, according to him, the key to scale up, and hope to see that in future. Moving on to the next event, I invite Sandhya Narayanan, a core member of Solid Waste Management Roundtable, and our sane voice, to take us through the presentation of best practices in HSR layout, and also release a video that is capturing the essence of it. Sandhya?
Good evening, all. It's nice to see more in the audience than when we started. I know it's really difficult for people to make their way out on a day, but this is a subject that is very close to all our hearts. And more importantly, very few times when we get an opportunity to actually celebrate somebody's achievement. And when that happens, I think we all really have to make time out from where we are to come and support those who have stood their ground and actually done things on the ground. So you are going to see a video further on. The video is a capture of the processes that are going on right now. So my attempt at this presentation is really to walk you through all the work that this community has done. So when we talk about this community, of course, the central part of the community is the HSR Citizen Forum. But no one body, as you all know, can work in isolation. So there are a number of stakeholders involved. We are not getting into that. What we are going to actually just walk you through is the achievements. And please keep in mind that this is the total set of achievements by a collective of multiple stakeholders who we will unravel as this evening goes on, where we'll also have an ability to kind of have a small discussion and understand the various nuances of these various stakeholders. So the presentation is basically a timeline. And these are the achievements of the HSR, what we like to call as the best practices in solid waste management between the period, am I blocking? Are you okay? 2015 to 2024. So that's the 9 years that Thomas Isaac was actually referring to. And you must admit it's a substantial period. So what we have basically done is to cluster these achievements in what we believe as SWM practitioners as certain key kind of thrust or strategy when we take up work. Of course, when this work was achieved, it was not done keeping this in mind. But when we look back at the 9 years of achievements and the things that have happened, we are able to cluster it in these segments. And it's, I must tell you, almost textbook. Really, this is a perfect case study of how only thing it didn't happen in this particular way. But today, if we were to write out a roadmap for someone to execute, this is really what we would write out to them. So coming to this, when we look at waste minimization, as most of you know, and for those of you who don't, in the SWM jargon, when we say waste minimization, it is about how do we reduce the waste at source. This is through plastic bans, this is through using cutlery banks. So the idea is to completely reduce then when there is no waste, there is no management. So that is what we talk about when we refer to waste minimization. So in 2015, Ward 174 became the plastic-free ward, which was the role model for starting the movement which happened all across the city and finally culminated in the rules of March 2016, which was the first state in the country to actually ban single-use plastic. And that started here. Then 2015 also recorded the highest plastic. When you see these years there, it is from when it started. And I have to tell you with a matter of great pride and amazement that this still continues. So the starting point here doesn't mean that it's restricted to this particular year. So from the year 2015, Bomanali has been having the highest amount of plastic seizing. If you look at the Swachh Sarvekshan submissions and all of that, they are still on the top, which means that the officials are still completely on that track. So now I'll move a little faster now that you've understood the structure. In 2015, there was a big drive to hotels to promote the bring your own box, where there will be no takeaways allowed and you have to bring in your own box to do the takeaways. 2017 onwards started the Eco Ganesha workshops with an intention to substitute the POP idols. 2018, we saw the setting up of plate banks for carrying out zero waste public events with only reusable cutlery. And I must tell you the passion and commitment with which we see the HSR folks either in their large public events bending over, washing, cleaning, actually putting it out there. It takes that kind of commitment to make this happen. It's just 2 lines here, but there's a lot more beyond it. 2021, carrying out sustainable menstruation campaigns for sanitation women staff and other residents. This was during the COVID time that it started. And they did 1,000+ online sessions, and it goes on even today. 2022, there are cloth collection drives, textile recovery facility, Chila Mela. Chila Mela is the project where they actually collect old bed sheets and make them into cloth bags, which is sent for upcycling. Then comes the next basket, which is the segregation at source. In 2014, it started with an initiative where they distributed about 10,000 2-bin 1-bag kits. In 2015, there was a mega drive for source segregation in the bulk generator apartments, collaborating with the BBMP to monitor and report non-compliance. In 2016, and since then, they have been ranked as the #1 BBMP ward, which has been listing upwards of 80% segregation. No mean achievement. We are talking about 30,000 to 35,000 houses. I don't know if I'm right, somewhere in that. 1.76 lakh population is what I'm told HSR has. That's mad. So collection and transportation, which also comes with waste stream management. What do we mean by waste stream? It means waste is basically made up of dry, wet, sanitary, garden. So we call each kind of waste a stream. And we believe that each of these have to be managed individually. So in 2014-15, HSR started the door-to-door collection with 5 days wet collection and 2 days dry collection, which in itself was a bit of a, whammy. Nobody would have expected that for 2 days my wet waste is not going to leave my house. Imagine telling people that. Nale barala gadi itkoli, nalidu barade. Are the people really going to be willing to listen to you? And they managed it. Then what happened, it immediately, to monitor that and to stop people from going to the black spots and throwing, they ensured that there was a lane and volunteer setup, which was a lane and block level, so that if someone was doing it, there was night patrolling happening, and people were caught and hauled up for doing it, and these were volunteers on the ground. So that started in 2016 to make sure that black spots didn't happen. And from 2018-19, they started dedicated vehicle collection, which means one separate vehicle for wet and one separate vehicle for dry. Again, 5 days wet, 2 days dry. This is again, like I told you, textbook. Then coming to the dry waste and the wet waste management, in 2013, the collection of dry waste, because they started the 5+2 system, it went up to about 2 to 3 tons, and from there jumped to about 5 tons. In 18-19, it went up to about 7 tons, and in 2019, they have set up an automated dry waste collection center because sorting 7 tons is not easy. So that has really helped them to manage the quantum. Wet waste management, and this is really, I think, one of the beautiful parts of the decentralized management that we see, because some of the other things we do see, but wet waste management is rather unique to what we're seeing in HSR. In 1617, leaf composting bins were set up in all the 26 parks of HSR, and these are still working well. In 2016, street-level lane composters were set up in 5 locations in the ward. You may not know what I'm talking about, but you will be able to see it in the video that follows. 2016, 100 composting kits, home composting kits were distributed as an introductory campaign. And thereafter, there were a lot of workshops to push people to do home composting. Again, in 2016, 12 temple composters were set up for creating divine composting. About 50% of them have a survival rate. In 9 years, that's fairly decent. And there's an effort now to, again, go back and revive these. In 2018, about 350 kgs of wet waste composting took place in the Kalika Kendra, and 2 tons of leaf composting once a week. In 2022, lane composters were increased to 13 locations, and they serve about 650 households. This is really a pocket of excellence, you must admit. 2023, coconut shredding facility with 25 tons a day capacity set up. I think this is the only one of its kind in Bangalore. And I don't know, maybe elsewhere. I have not heard of 25 tons being done. Community engagement and behavior change campaign. Finally, we come to the last part as to why, how did this all happen. In 1617, there were street plays done in the schools. There were PPE kits distributed to Paura Karmikas. The first learning center was set up in the Kalika Kendra in the HSR Park. The community kitchen garden was set up in the medians under the high tension wire in the middle of a busy street. The first time I visited that, I was zapped. 1 minute I was trying to cross this really wide road, and the next minute I'm seeing kumlekai, capsicum, sime badnekai, and I'm thinking, hello, where am I? I mean, I was really zapped, right in the middle of a busy road. Then in 2019, the Biodiversity Park, which was corporate sponsored, which is running with beautiful programs, then weekly online campaigns on sustainable menstruation, and all this driven by a set of volunteers who have about 25-30 people in the core team. So a big hands up for them. We're not going to leave you to actually, the reason why all of us are assembled here today, to actually have a look at the video that has been made. We have done it with a deliberate attempt of really putting it out there to make people understand what we mean by decentralized. It's a small capture. It does not do justice to all the work, but of course many of it was in the past, so we are not able to capture it. But please enjoy it.
Thank you, Sandhya.
Looking at the soaring volume of waste generation with increasing population, waste management is the need of the hour. They say, lead by example. And that is exactly what HSR layout is trying to do. Set an example for the best practices in solid waste management. HSR layout, located in Namma Bengaluru, is known for managing solid waste in an effective and efficient way. Around 90% of waste segregation is being carried out at source, along with lane composting, park tank composting, temple composting, and dry waste collection center, the city has set an example to decentralized approach in solid waste management. In addition to this, in creating awareness to everyone about waste management and encouraging learnings about composting and sustainable lifestyle, Swachhagraha Kalika Kendra plays a vital role. Dear citizens, this is the announcement of BBMP. BBMP has made garbage segregation mandatory. In this regard, citizens should separate their household waste at source. Wet waste, dry waste, and reject waste should be given separately. Waste. Waste is generated every day. Instead of mixing this waste and throwing it in a corner, it is our responsibility to segregate it at source and handle it properly. In HSR, nearly 90% of waste segregation is carried out effectively. The segregated waste is handed over to the waste collection vehicle that comes every day. Then the segregated waste is not mixed in the cart, is stored separately and taken. In terms of segregation, in all the BBMP wards, ours is the number one ward. Ask our auto drivers as a surprise. They themselves say that we do not get mixed garbage in any way because we warn people and follow up. In every block, wet waste and reject waste is collected every day and dry waste is collected twice a week. The waste that is collected separately is then transported to specified collection centers through BBMP vehicles. The kitchen waste that we generate at home, like vegetable and fruit peels, leftover food, etc., can be composted at home. A lot of HSR residents follow this. They go by the motto, "My garbage is my responsibility." We can use the compost to grow healthy plants in our own backyard. In a very simple way, if we spend 2 minutes a day, we can compost wet waste at our home. From past 8 years, I am composting wet waste. In the last 8 years, I have never given the wet waste to BBMP. The Varasiddhi Vinayaka temple in 7th sector of HSR layout proudly calls itself as plastic free temple. This temple's speciality is that the flowers and the fruits offered to the god is later segregated and composted at the temple itself in a divine composter. This compost will be used to the parks and will be distributed among the residents of the layout. After it is composted, we take it to our home saying it is a divine compost. We can then use it to our plants. Then we can offer a guilt-free puja to God. With the cooperation of BBMP and welfare associations of 7th sector, we have started segregation at temple. At start, it was quite difficult. It is going really great now. And we say Our temple is a plastic-free temple. We are proud to say that we are a clean temple due to everyone's cooperation.
ಸ್ವಚ್ಛವಾದ ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಪಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ.
We are now in Twin Park of HSR 3rd sector. I will show you how to compost the leaves lying on the road. Back in 2015, in the evening, people used to burn the leaves. We could sense the smoke by evening 6:30 to 7. So, to solve this problem, we went to the Joint Commissioner of Bommanahalli and asked him for tanks in the parks. Immediately, he agreed. Now there are 22 park tanks in HSR. The leaves lying around the park are swept and brought into the pit. Dung water is sprinkled once in 15 days. With the rainwater, it goes down and compost is formed. After the compost is ready, we use it for the same park, or messages will be sent to the residents. Whoever wants takes it. The motto is to avoid burning of leaves. Leaves contain carbon in them. It should go back to the soil. If there is no carbon in the soil, there will be no fertility. This park tank has no concrete below, so if it rains heavily also, everything goes down and earthworms also comes from below. It is very important to compost leaves, so there will be no problem of burning. Another interesting practice of this area is the lane composter or street composters. In HSR layout, there are nearly 10 to 15 lane composters. Wet waste collected from around 40 houses in that street is fed to the lane composter. Once this is converted into compost, it is distributed among the residents of the street. Talking about best practices in HSR, a mention of Swachhagraha Kalika Kendra is a must. First of its kind in India, an information education center. Swachhagraha Kalika Kendra is a solid waste management learning center. This center houses more than 20 home and community composting models, both DIY and vendor based. This center also models the community garden with healthy chemical-free vegetables and greens that is grown using the compost that is generated within the center. The center promotes the usage of greener alternatives to a sustainable lifestyle, like low-waste home, plastic-free life, sustainable menstruation, composting, and the like. Awareness on sustainable hygiene is one of the major campaigns that this center is involved in. They have changed the lives of many Paurakarmikas who are now converted. Yes, that's the term they proudly use to mention the change they have brought. No cash, no trash, no rush. This concise mantra encapsulates the transformative shift towards eco-friendly ministerial practices. It has been 7 years since we started using cup. So we also thought of issuing the menstrual cups to the Paurikamikas as well. We were scared initially. Will they understand this menstrual cup? Will they use it? Will they be scared to use it? So we trained and hand-holded them to use menstrual cup. Now we are doing the same in Bomanahalli ward as well. With the help of Circular Waste Solutions and Sahas NGO, we call for menstrual cup donors and distribute cups to Paurikamikas. My dream is that all of them who are menstruating Paurakarmikas should use menstrual cups all across Bengaluru. Till then, we won't stop. My name is Ganga. I am using cup since 2 years. There is no problem from this. Pad use causes problems. With menstrual cup, it has become easy to travel and go anywhere we want easily. Now without menstrual cup, I even can't survive.
If there is any active citizen, responsible citizen who is who is cup-verted or who is a cup user and know the benefits of it, want to do transform their ward, their neighborhood frontline workers like Paurakarmikas, police women, be it Asha workers, Anganwadi teachers, any frontline workers in their ward, if they want to transform, we are there to help.
BBMP, RWA, SWMRT all together have improvised the quality of segregation in HSR. Penalty is the main concept. We are seeing a change there because of the penalty on the spot. One small change has changed the whole HSR. I am very proud to be the health inspector of HSR. Intentionally, we don't penalize. Simply put the awareness in words, it is not effective. So we impose penalty. Before penalizing, we make sure if they have all the garbage disposable facilities.
So all these penalty drives are every single day motivated from HSR. Now across Bangalore we see a lot of marshals and lot of junior health inspectors every day being on toes to bring the change, and that has really showed the difference.
Another good practice is the zero waste event. Not only promoting but practicing is their go-to mantra. They either carry their own cutlery or borrow steel cutleries from cutlery banks for all their events and make sure that they do not generate any waste. Let's celebrate zero waste events. Along with wet waste management, the dry waste in HSR is also managed effectively. Dry Waste Collection Center is decentralized waste management facility where the dry waste collected from the households are further segregated into 30 or more categories, sorted into different types and is sent to the recyclers when it reaches a sizable volume. Plastic is sorted into 11 or more types. Cloths are separated and sent to the material recovery facility centers. The Dry Waste Collection Center uses conveyor belt for segregation and baling machines to bale similar objects. Without dry waste collection centers, we cannot reduce the amount of waste that goes into the landfill. So, dry waste collection centers are one of the best practices in HSR layout. Our layout has witnessed many firsts. That is, maybe segregation at source, plastic ban, rent-a-cutlery, tree plantation, sustainable menstruation, etc. I feel proud to be associated with such an environmental friendly organization.
ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
In HSR layout, with the support and effort of HSR Citizen Forum, Solid Waste Management Roundtable, Garbage Contractors, Annapurneshwari Associates, 90% of waste is being segregated at source. With lane composting, temple composting, park tank composting and Swachhagraha Kalika Kendra, nearly 300 kgs of wet waste is being composted daily. Further, nearly 5,000 kgs of dry waste is being segregated at the Dry Waste Collection Center. Nearly 2,000 tons of waste has been avoided ending up in the landfill. Swachhagraha Kalika Kendra has been playing a major role in creating awareness on composting, segregation, sustainable living to general public. The steps taken by the HSR Citizen Forum, BBMP, SWMRT towards sustainable living and garbage-free city is an example to many of us.
Wow. So we would like to thank Sahana for the detailed documentation through this video. And thank you, Sandhya, for taking us back, taking us down the memory lane. Many of us here who have been part of the journey felt really nostalgic. Thank you. This is Sahana who has put together the video. Lovely, beautiful. So for all of you who've been part of this journey and who live in HSR, we don't like to go anywhere else, do we? Moving on to the next part of the event now. We're going to have a panel discussion on decentralized waste management. I would like to invite the panelists to please come on stage as I call out your name. Be patient. We have an esteemed line of panelists, so words don't do justice to the introductions. I'm going to try my best. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge Captain Manivanan for coming here, please. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our first panelist is Dr. Joshi Cherian. He is an organic farmer and environmental scientist, an agricultural scientist with more than 30 years of rich experience in sustainable farming, organic waste management, with extensive field research and hands-on expertise in farm development and management. Dr. Joshi has developed various innovative projects and related to products to implement sustainable solutions. Dr. Joshi has a doctorate from Bhartiyar University, Tamil Nadu, with a specialization in natural resource management, sustainable agriculture, and solid waste management. Many countries seek his advice for finding solutions in the area of sustainable farming and organic waste management. He's also the founder and managing director of Omega Ecotech Products India Private Limited. For all of you who are using the microbial cocoa peat, it all comes from his company. And also he's also the creator of the famous Joshi bin. Welcome, Dr. Joshi. Next, I'd like to call upon the panel Dr. Shanti Tumalla. She is a dentist turned environmentalist, member of Solid Waste Management Roundtable, the founder of HSR Citizen Forum, instrumental in carrying on a lot of campaigns, a lot of the things we saw in the video today. I'll repeat. Waste segregation, composting, single-use plastic ban, a lot of other campaigns run in the layout and Bengaluru and beyond, all over, across India. She has been participating, leading, and Inspiring, thank you. She's been at the heart of establishing the Composting Learning Center, which is Swachhagraha Kalika Kendra. And it has drawn, as you know, it has drawn the attention of activists, officials, and eco-lovers across India. She's an orator, a TEDx speaker. She's spoken on radio, television, public platforms. It's very difficult to make her stop talking. She's worked with Telangana government for end-to-end implementation of solid waste management in Siddipet constituency. She's been conferred upon the prestigious Kempe Gowda Award in 2019. Welcome, Dr. Shanti. Next we have Mrs. Renuka Konchandi, who's the RW of RMV Extension. Renuka believes in making a difference around her, a stack at a time, a bin at a time, a child at a time, with resources within her reach in the areas of SWM and education. She has an enlightening journey navigating the SWM world since 2008. Her engineering background aided her to understand and experiment, to find solutions for improving the composting process and operational issues at Residential Waste Management Initiative, SHOWS, SHOWS. Welcome, Mrs. Renuka. Another difficult introduction for me now. I welcome Mr. Rupesh Kumar. He's been the garbage contractor since 2013, and he was awarded the tender for HSR layout in 2016. You will see the year 2016 many times, both in the video and here. It's probably the turning point for all of us. It changed the whole scenario for HSR layout, waste collection. He's been awarded as the best contractor of BBMP in Swachh Sarvekshan. He's passionate. He's able to arrange infrastructure for DWCC, including baling, conveyor, stacker. He's a believer of fully functional DWCC in all his wards, and so many other things credited to him in terms of using plastic for road asphaltation, developing a tender coconut processing unit, supporting in setting up Kalika Kendra. All his hosts are all his events are zero waste events, including the ones which have people 10,000 and plus coming over. In short, he doesn't understand the word impossible. Welcome, Rupesh. Now I invite the panel moderator, Sandhya Narayanan, an SWMRT member. Sandhya worked as a finance professional for close to 2 decades and is one of the founding members of Solid Waste Management Roundtable. She is an analyst, an expert on the economy of waste. She's been extensively involved in the policy advocacy area related to all aspects of municipal solid waste management. She has co-authored several papers on several aspects of waste management, has been very involved in local groups working on ward level with local communities, elected representatives, and the BBMP on waste management systems, and is a part of several BBMP and DMA technical committees. As you already will know shortly, she's very articulate, very detailed, and very calm and composed with all of us hot-headed people here, and she's been very patient with us.
So before starting the panel discussion, I would like to welcome the first joint commissioner when we started this journey, Jannappa sir. Sir, thank you sir for coming. He put that seed of confidence in me that I can think beyond my house and do something. We'll come to that later.
Thank you. Over to you, Sandhya.
I have some small notes I have to collect. So welcome to all the panelists. And here's hoping that, Smita, you'll also help us keep time so that we... So after so much of a heads up, the difficulty is always in finding that first one question and who to address it to. So we are not going to do a typical round robin. I'll just stay with you to understand the topic a little more, and then we move on to the rest. I request the patience of the other panelists while the person is speaking. Before we go into the details of maybe what each of you do, I thought it'll be nice, Dr. Joshi, to understand from you and to explain to the audience here the correlation between what we are seeing here as decentralized waste management practices. We are seeing small numbers, a small number of people doing this. How do you see it vis-a-vis a large subject like climate change? I know you have very strong thoughts on it, but we'd like you to explain that to the audience.
Good evening, everyone. In fact, I should thank the organizers of this meeting to invite me for sharing my experiences with you. In fact, I think it's more than before 2015, I was asked to develop a solution for home composting, and that need came from SWRT. That is, I am basically a scientist. Before being a scientist, I am a farmer. I am an organic farmer. So for me, organic waste is always a very important resource, which helps organic farming. So I've been involved with this for more than 30 years. And going back when I started an organic farm in Pollachi in Tamil Nadu, people were burning coir pit. That is how I got involved in coir pit. Because all around Pollachi, there are a lot of defibering mills, and the fiber was the main product, and they were burning the pit, which was a byproduct. So I got interested in this material, and I did my research, and I was able to convert this into a valuable product which we are using in different, as a growing medium and also as a composting medium. So coming back to SWRT, I was asked if we could evolve a solution for a hassle-free organic home composting. That's how I developed the initial home composting kit. From there it has again moved further. Now, as Sandhya was mentioning, what you have initiated here from a composting angle, from a waste management angle, today it has got a much larger significance and importance. Because climate change is something which is hitting us all very hard. No one now needs to tell another person that climate change is real. For example, one small example, the rain that we are having in Bangalore now. See, Bangalore does not have any river, but we are having floods continuously. I'll just try to explain to you how this is happening. Earlier when we had rains, the cross-sectional height of the cloud was around 7 to 8 kilometers. Today it is almost 16 kilometers. The cross-sectional height of the cloud that is raining is almost 16 kilometers. This is because of the accumulation of excess moisture. So that is the evaporation from the sea has increased tremendously, and all this moisture is gathered and coming over us in clouds, and it is literally downpouring. So in Chennai recently, in 10 hours, 48 centimeter rain. In Thoothukudi recently, in 24 hours, almost 95 centimeter rain. There's no drainage system can take out this kind of downpour. So we are going to have very serious climate change challenges in our life. This is only the beginning. In Chennai, you know, the wind was blowing at 60 kilometer speed for so many hours. See, it can happen anywhere in the world at any time. There is no escape. So, and the most important realization is that it is the greenhouse which is actually responsible for global warming, and it is the global warming that is responsible for climate change. And you know which is the most potential greenhouse? That is methane. And 50% of the world's methane is coming from landfill. So this is where what we have evolved or what we have tried to do in HSR is so important to the global community today. And I have been involved. I am very happy to say that Dr. Thomas Isaac invited me in 2015 to find solutions for the problems they are facing in Kerala. And we initiated a program in Trivandrum city where we initially did a pilot in 2,000 houses in home composting, and that was extended to 50,000 houses in Trivandrum city, which is the largest decentralized waste management initiative in India, probably in the world. And I'm very happy to say that the COP28 held in Dubai invited Trivandrum Corporation to share that experience. So what I'm trying to say is that what we are doing in HSR, don't think it is HSR. It is in a few, you mentioned, say, a few tons. It is not the number of tons. It is a solution that we are evolving. It is a solution, technology, and also the social dimension, the acceptance of this by the people here. So I'm telling you, the whole world is today looking for decentralized waste management solution. They don't have the confidence. They don't know what to do. In fact, in Dubai summit, they have evolved a new concept called LOW, low methane. That is, expansion is lowering organic waste methane. So you understand the importance of the global importance of the solution that we have evolved in HSR. In fact, I was telling the HSR team, now our next agenda is not spread the message to the rest of the country, but to the rest of the world. Because there will be much more acceptance for this from the rest of the countries. So I think with this I'll conclude this particular.
Thank you, Dr. Joshi. That was a really nice opening statement. So coming back to the local subject of the HSR effort, Shanti, I want to understand from you, a lot of us or a lot of the others who have seen you, and the fact that though we know that HSR has done what it has done with a collective effort, it cannot be denied that you have been one of the front runners in actually making it happen. Now often there is a little bit of a fear when we see these kind of achievements. Is this a system which is personality dependent? What is your thought on how will this HSR best practices continue in a few years where it is not personality, or do you feel that it has gone past that stage where it is no more personality dependent?
Very tough question, Sandhya. Actually, it should not be a personality dependent, because for it to sustain or replicate, it should never be a personality dependent. But many a times, to a certain amount of time, to a certain period of time, it is person dependent, because not many will have that courage to stand in front of the officials or talk. But that confidence you instill, there are many, many citizens who are, coming forward to learn, and okay, few times they will follow us, how we interact, how we negotiate, how we talk. It's okay to get a no from them, but still how we take the no or failure. And people watching will definitely take over. Now I'm not in the HSR Citizen Forum EC group, but still it continues to do good. And youngsters like Dhruva are there. We welcome our MLA sir, Sri Satish Reddy sir, who's been supporting always from the past 10 years. Sir, welcome, sir. So without his support, we wouldn't have been able to reach today. So HSR Citizen Forum, actually Sandhya is a team of committed citizens, committed volunteers who are now ready to take the baton forward without me. But only thing is we are yet to move out of HSR. Like Joshi told, it is a need beyond HSR, not Bangalore, beyond the country. There is a demand to understand what are the ways of decentralized processing. Is it possible? First of all, there is lack of confidence that it is possible. There are always a question marks. Is decentralized possible in the urbanized setup? Does it stink? Does it cause any diseases to me? There are a lot of people who say, composting in front of my, no, mosquitoes will come, no. There are still a lot of doubts whether it can be done. So maybe HSR has given confidence to Telangana to replicate. Telangana is doing now like that. Many more cities will come up. Definitely, it should not be a personality dependent thing, but I still take some more time to say that it goes on with anyone and everyone.
Yeah, so I do, having seen your journey up close, I know that in the last few years, it has stopped being personality dependent. I was expecting you to say that forcefully, you didn't. But we hope you'll get there. I know it's ultimately, that's the dream all of us want to achieve, that it becomes an institutionalized system. Coming to another pet topic, which I know you believe in, and I really want you to talk about it, is the role of enforcement in making it a success. Though we see a lot of this effort as being voluntary, and we see it as being inspired or motivated or people coming forward, and it's not possible to make, the system is not yet matured enough for us to make laws around it, where we mandate that people have to do something in front of their street or to take up home composting. We have such a complex social system. We as yet have not reached that level. While Kerala has in some sense done it, I don't know about Bangalore city whether we can get to that level. But there is a role that authorities can play with respect to enforcement. And I know that you have taken a lot of leverage out of that to actually get the system to where it is. So why don't you walk us through a little bit of that?
So enforcement, actually all the laws in the country are very good on the papers, but when it comes to enforcement, we fail very badly, miserably, especially in waste management. Way back in 2013, when I had asked our health inspector to penalize a defaulter who is not segregating in spite of telling 10 or more times, he's like, madam, kasa ke faina? Illa madam, agala. So the fear of penalizing someone was there since long. I dreamt about it that like any traffic penalty, the penalties on waste management should be, people should fear to mix garbage, people should fear to throw garbage. That dream, all of us citizens kept on calling the health inspector. There were days, Sandhya, I still remember, we volunteers would tell the health inspector, you write the penalty, if he doesn't pay, we'll pay from the pocket, but you ensure that it is written and the slip is given to him. So usually where it fails is when there is a penalty drive which is moved, political will is required. Immediately there will be a call from one MLA, one corporator saying, hey, our namma oru bitvidi. And blessing is that we don't have that in HSR. The full support of the defaulter, sir, I mean, he always tells in the community, do not call me if you have done a mistake. Do not call me if you are using plastic. So that one, his silence of not supporting the defaulters took us a long way. Amazing thing is, I don't believe in any success unless it sustains, unless it is replicated. Now, across Bangalore, penalties, night patrolling, everything is up on toes, and everyone is now, it is not guts anymore. It is a common practice now. Even JHI is penalized. So many JHIs have been trained coming to HSR on penalties and the importance. I always believe only 50% difference can be brought about by awareness. The rest of the 50% difference comes only with enforcement of the law, whatever field it is.
Sure. Your turn is not over. Few more questions and then we move on to the rest. So in this whole exercise and having done it for some time and also in other projects, what for you is more striking as a key game changer? Is it minimization or is it management? Waste minimization or waste management? Which do you think plays a more important role?
People management plays a major role. Whether it is, convincing them or making them understand what is more important, not to do a certain thing, people management. Take it Banshankari temple or take it anywhere, it is people management, making them understand the rule. And waste minimization has started its journey, but long way to go. But I'm glad, many people ask, 10 years you have traveled, what difference it made? It made a lot of difference. People have now the courage to take up zero waste events, but only thing, me and my friends keep dreaming that we should have a zero waste mobile vehicle with one more. I mean, the dreams no end, no? So minimization of waste is the requirement now, and processing whatever is generated is the second thing. First is minimization, for which zero waste event should be just like that easy. Now who is making zero waste event? Who is very confident, very stubborn with all the challenges. And one of our member, Kanvi, has a wedding in his family coming up. He's also facing that reluctance from the family members to make it a zero waste event. That reluctance should go and it should become a very simple norm. So waste minimization is the key first required to be done.
And one last question to you. Given your special, unique relationship that you all have with Rupesh Anna, right? That's how he's referred to. What do you, how or what level of importance or focus would you give to the role of a service provider in having achieved the scale or being able to replicate it further in decentralized waste management particularly?
So citizens' role again comes down little bit. Citizens' movement comes down little bit, and the priority goes to the service provider. How much ever effort we put and ensure people segregate, if there is no proper collection, if there is no proper understanding of not to mix the collected garbage, if there is no proper recovering of dry waste from whatever is segregated, all the motivation and the moral comes down. So Rupesh for us has been, I mean, we don't look at him as a contractor. It's much beyond. No words can describe what a person Rupesh is in waste management. He thinks like us, like an eco warrior, how we all think day and night. Maybe his journey started of sustainability from us in 2015-16, but he's gone beyond us. We may be thinking for 10 to 12 hours, he'll be thinking more than us, 15 to 18 hours. Early morning, 5:30, we can do this, no, we can do that. Amazing to have a service provider like him. If only we have many more such Rupesh, maybe 28 Rupesh, I think should solve Bangalore problem. There is no word called impossible in him, and just 28 Rupesh can solve the garbage problem of Bangalore. Very, very down-to-earth person and very progressive thinking. A contractor being progressive thinking, and it's amazing. There's a lot of things coming forward, which maybe a bus will arrange, asking MLA sir to visit all the places like, CND waste, the tender coconut processing, all that. You all have to see that. You saw in the video, but there's lots more that Rupesh has made, and amazing support from him for 5 wards in Bommanhalli.
Thanks, Shanti. Moving to you, Dr. Joshi. I'm going to have a few questions for you so that we can focus on the topic that we are with you without breaking thought. The elephant in the room is always that word composting. Nobody likes it. Everybody is afraid of it. How does one break through that to get to a big ideal like climate change, decentralized waste management? Finally, how do we break that barrier?
See, in my opinion, before you look at how we compost, we should look at why we compost. Because today, as we have seen, the challenge, the landfills. What is the challenge created by a landfill? If we are not composting, then what happens is what we all should understand. We have to resort to landfill. So in a landfill, I think most of you who are familiar with a landfill, you'll know. You can't go near a landfill, first of all, because of smell, flies, birds, dogs. See, the kind of challenges that we encounter by all these different issues around a landfill. In fact, some of the WhatsApp videos circulating about children being attacked by street dogs. We can't bear the pain. It's so serious. So again, the leachate, the contamination of the underground water. And I don't know how many of you are aware about the methane. See, in a landfill, especially in a tropical country situation like what we have, more than 60% of the waste coming to any landfill is organic. So when it starts breaking down, the whole landfill becomes an anaerobic pile. So it goes through an anaerobic process and methane is generated. And this methane, you all know, is today considered to be the most important villain in climate change, because methane is 21 times more harmful than carbon dioxide. And as I told you earlier, almost 50% of the world's methane is coming from landfill. So we cannot afford to permit the accumulation of greenhouse gases, especially methane, because if you understand the cause for global warming, greenhouse phenomenon, there is a partial blocking of the reflected radiation from the earth. That is how the warming happens. And the extent of energy that is being trapped every second is equal to 4 times the atomic bomb dropped in Hiroshima. That is a quantum of energy that is being trapped every second because of the greenhouse gas phenomenon. And we know energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So this trapped energy is creating all the natural disasters that we are facing today. So if we are not responsible and if we are not willing to compost, then automatically we are going for landfill or incineration. Another major reason why we should compost is the soil health. Today across the world, the soil health is depleted. When we say soil health is depleted, it means that the soil organic carbon has reduced, because we are not letting the carbon cycle complete its course. I think you'll be really surprised to know that in the atmosphere we have around 750 billion tons of carbon. In all the plants and animals together, we have around 500 billion tons of carbon. And in soil alone, we have 2,400 billion tons of carbon. And every year, we are losing about 60 billion tons of carbon from soil by oxidation. There is a huge life in soil. In a healthy soil, there should be around 30 to 40 lakh earthworms in 1 acre. Around 10 to 15 tons of microbes in 1 acre. So all these life need carbon. Like we all eat 3 times carbon, basically carbon. Similarly, there is a huge life in soil which needs carbon. So when we are not letting the carbon go back to the soil, we are depleting the soil health. When soil health is depleted, automatically plant health is depleted. When plant health is depleted, the plant is susceptible to disease and pest. So we use all kinds of dangerous chemicals to protect the plant. And where do these chemicals go? It comes back to us in food and water. So human health is affected. So when we are, today there is a very huge awareness across the world to rebuild the soil carbon. So anywhere we have organic waste or the kind of, in any situation, the 60% of the waste is organic. So if you are not letting this carbon go back to the soil, then again we are creating huge problem for us. So again I would like to say, why we need to compost
is more important.
More important.
Sure.
So any challenge that we come across for composting will be acceptable.
So maybe we are not talking enough about why we need to compost. People don't understand the correlation.
True,
that's a good point.
Yes.
I'm going to come back to you in a little while. At the end, I have an important question for you. But moving on to you, Renuka. For those of you who don't know why we have Renuka on the panel, it's a very special reason. Renuka represents an area called RMV Extension, which had the privilege of having the first community composting model, which was set up way back in the 1980s-90s. It was called SHOWS, Scientific Handling of Waste and then something else. So SHOWS. It was set up by a UNEP Norwegian funding, and it went on. We don't have Shalini madam with us. She was the driver for actually running that whole community composting setup. RMV Extension is a beautiful small, like a neighborhood, like a gated community which has about 350 or 400, 500 houses. Oh, I missed you. Yeah, sure. And they managed their waste in-house. They were almost like a community which did not let go of their waste for a long time. And this particular SHOWS was set up as a model. There was one more set up in Kalyan Nagar called RISE. And recently, and which is what we'll talk to you about, for various reasons, it got dismantled. We know also that the RMV RWA did excellent work for, I don't know, decade more, where so many of the practices in terms of everything that we saw today actually, whether it's park composting, segregation, all of that were actually adopted. And my question, leading question, which Shanti did not like at all earlier about, is this personality dependent, was one of the reasons why I asked her, is because SHOWS at some point was also a lot about Shalini madam. She's of course no more with us, she's a very senior person. But the community, that which is all of you, have continued that work, and it's amazing to see that you all have some way kept your resilience, but I think in some parts, some trials and tribulations kind of thing. So I want to understand from you basically a little bit of the history, if you can briefly kind of touch upon that. And what led to those trials and tribulations which kind of made you have to stop a lot of that stuff, which is a little bit of where we don't want HSR to go in some sense. So,
thank you for inviting me. Hello. Thank you for inviting me here. Of course, like when everyone started talking, I was wondering what I'm doing here, because I don't think I've achieved as much as all of you put together have. Coming back to your question about SHOWS, SHOWS was actually, it was started in October of 95 with a bunch of very concerned citizens, because the layout was a BDA layout then, and the surrounding areas were the garbage pickup was very, very irregular. So they started off with, we have to work with the BDA officials and the municipality, and there were some like those notified areas around. to get the clearing done. But within months, they realized that that was not going to, make the mark. We needed to take care of things ourselves. So they had really good support from the then BDA commissioner. So because right from the beginning, they had approached, right from the beginning, they had approached her, and she encouraged them to even think about composting also inside. And they finally talked to a lot of experts, because there were a lot of, I believe, small groups already looking into it. Vijay Mahal had a group that was trying to do composting within their area. And we are all open layout. We are not a private layout or a gated community or an apartment. These are individual houses. So a lot of resistance was like, the government should be taking care of it. Why are you all doing it? But they still got about 100 households who joined in initially. And the initial funding, nothing came from the government. The government said, okay, BDA gave them a site to work on. They had Ms. Shenoy and the group identified, gave them a site to work on. Initial experimenting happened in the backyards of some of the members. They started with, and the whole motto from the beginning had always been, it has to be a low-cost, very easy to operate system, because you are going to have workers who are illiterate or, and who won't be able to follow too complex instructions and don't want complicated machinery. It should not be power dependent. So if there's power cut, you don't want your whole system failing there. So that had always been the motto, that it was not going to be a very energy intensive system. And they went all over the place. So they started off with stacks, with the forced aeration, and the problem, and I think initially in the first year when they started, they got about 650 kgs of compost from the project. And towards the, and then by 2013, okay, so funding was coming in because of the connection. Yes, here's when you say personality dependent. It was Mrs. Shenoy her husband was an IS officer. So through the years afterwards, when we took over, when I was, running around to get the collect the funding and all that with a few core members, we realized how much of a impact it had about who you knew and who you were. Because initially, even though SHOES was doing work for so many years, for some reason, BBMP refused to even allocate us any funding or put us under any category. So every time we went, it was like, oh, where do we put you? Where did you get your funding from last year? So they would go back into the book, see which account the money came from, and do some jugaad and give us. Finally, I think when Mr. Rajneesh Goyal was a commissioner, he said, no, you need to have a proper, MOU and all that. So initially there was a MOU, which then never got, they didn't renew it. They just, told us, just come to us and they would fund us. So we got an MOU done. For 5 years, they gave us an MOU. We told them what we were doing. So those days, I think, because the government, as it proceeded, the years went by, they started streamlining their processes also. But we as a small group fell through the cracks, I think so, because everyone was very encouraging when the government level, when we went. The engineers were always very supportive of us, the work we were doing. And people came, they sent, other government officials to come and look at our center. But when it came to this funding and making us a permanent kind of a player in the field, somewhere they either lacked the confidence, or they kept saying there was no policy was being created where they could include us into their system. So every year it was a fight to get the funding for us. Eventually, since this project started in '96, by 2013, we realized we needed to do major renovation work. So the engineer said, we will fund it, don't worry, send in a proposal. We did all that. We went and got an architect to design the system for us. But finally, when the paperwork went through, it was like nobody wanted to fund us because we were not authorized this thing, or we were a third-party player. Then finally we were told, do it yourself. We said, fine, we'll do it ourselves, because our colony, there were enough people who were ready to fund the project. But it was a big project, like it was almost 14 lakhs. This is, I'm talking 2015. We said, okay, if you're spending so much, putting in so much of money, we want the assurance that nobody will come and tell us, move from this space. So at least give us in writing that we're permitted to do it. Even that never happened, actually. Finally, they threw some act at us, even though we told the commissioner, you have the authority to override it, actually. But it did happen. Like Mr. Dr. Belur is the RWA president. He ran around a lot with us. With our MLA was actually supportive, so they tried to get funding from somewhere for us. But it never came through, unfortunately, for us. When we were told the funding was coming, we dismantled our setup, moved it to another temporary space, which the RWA, created the shed and everything for us. But within 6 months...
But your ultimate problem did not come from the authorities. It actually came from a fellow resident.
Ultimate thing, yes. But in a sense, it was the authorities, because I think a lot of politics came into the picture.
You're being very diplomatic.
Yeah.
But I think the ultimate dismantling of that entire system happened because there was a fellow resident there who did not.
No, that came into the picture a lot later, because by 2017, we were not getting the funding. The MOU was not. It had already lapsed 6 months. They were not renewing it, calling, all kind of things. Finally, the commissioner, the solid waste commissioner, the joint commissioner, he told us, okay, you'll do your work. We will not pay you. You take all the stuff to the dry waste center, because the dry waste center had already been set up a year ago by then. Take it to the dry waste center. Composting y'all can do, and y'all self-sustain. So we looked at the math. With a little bit of help from the RWA, we could have sustained that also. But we still needed that land to work on, right? So we wanted, again, assurance from the government saying that, okay, use the land. So you have the authority to use the land. Because by then, a lot of policy changes came about, right? So, that is what, so 2017 is when we stopped work, August 2017. But we were still, the property was still under shows as far as we were concerned. So then we told the RW, okay, we are not doing this wet waste composting. Why don't you all use it for green waste composting? So they decided to beautify the space and then start doing the dry waste composting, the garden composting, green waste composting. But when they went in to access the place, suddenly we were not allowed to use the space, and we didn't initially figure out what was happening. But turned out that one of the influential neighbors has already got the BDA to allocate the property to him. And this was like 6 months ago already, apparently it had been allocated, and we were not aware of it at all. So we tried went to court kind of put a stay order. They finally, it went to, all over the place. They told, it went back to the BBMP. They told us use it.
That's what the tribulations that I was trying.
Yeah, so we were not allowed even to this day to use the, go near the site itself, when you put it that way.
But I think you made a very important point, and I really like that, which is about we were too small and it fell between the cracks. I think the thing about decentralized waste management is that when it starts, it is going to be small, because pretty much it's a collective effort. And the scaling up and all of that is only going to happen in the next phase. So what is it in the system? What is it in the rule books that will support something which is as small as this, but which is still so important and not allowed to fall through the cracks? I think that's one big thing that we all have to put on the table in terms of decentralized waste management. Thanks, Renuka, for sharing your thoughts, and really that's a very important part for us.
Welcome.
Coming to you, Rupesh. I think there's a lot of curiosity. What was the reason that you made the switch? As a contractor who's there, anyway you're assured, BBMP kadeyinda, you are going to get that payment for what you're doing. What was it that made you do the switch from being just a regular contractor who's moving it from point A to point B, and to do all the things that you have tried to do? What was it? Was it the system? Was it just that you liked all these HSR people, that is why you started doing it? What was it?
Hello. Welcome everybody. I thank our MLA. Our MLA support is very important for getting success for HSR. And you asked like, what's the reason? What's the reason why I'm doing this? So I'm passionate in this, and I wanted like our constancy should be model. Model constancy should be there, and whatever we do, that's for next future generation, because main motive is not to go to landfill. So this why we should do, like, for next generation, the landfill should not be there. Like we need to do all decentralized thing. So I'm doing this.
That's wonderful to hear. That you thought of it, that my job is not just to pick it up from here and put it there, but idu mele ಒಂದು bigger motivation ಇದೆ, the landfill ಹೋಗಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ. But my question to you is, solutions ನೀವೇ ತಗೊಂಡು ಎಲ್ಲಿನೋ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ನೋಡಿ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ರೆಡಿಯಾಗಿ ಯಾವುದೂ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ನಮಗೆ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಇಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್. ಸೊ and as a business person, you have also managed to find the money, nim funding in the, like, we are dependent upon the authorities for support and all of that. You have managed it on your own. But decentralized waste management achieve madakke solutions idya? Ella waste streams handle madakke solutions idya?
ಇದೆ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ಡಿಸೆಂಟ್ರಲೈಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಡಿಸೆಂಟ್ರಲೈಸ್ ವಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಕಷ್ಟ, ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಜಾಗ ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ, ಜಾಗ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಜಾಗ ಹುಡುಕಿ, ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ವೆಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಇರೋ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಒಂದೇ, CNG ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಕಾಂಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ 45 days to 60 days ಬೇಕು ಕಾಂಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ. ಆ ಕಾಂಪೋಸ್ಟು ಹಂಗೆ ಹೀಪ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮಲ್ಲಿ ಹಂಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದರಿಂದ ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿರೋ ರೆಸಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೇ CNG ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಕ್ರಷ್ ಆಗಿ ವಾಟರ್ ಆಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಅದರಿಂದ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇವಾಗ ನನ್ನ ಪಾಯಿಂಟಲ್ಲಿ, ನನ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯೆನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಕಲ್ತಿರೋದೇನೆಂದರೆ, ಇವಾಗ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಡೀಸೆಲ್ ವೆಹಿಕಲಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಡೀಸೆಲ್ ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ ಬದಲು CNG ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ಗೆ ಕನ್ವರ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬರೋ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ನ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಸೊ ಅದೇ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಡೀಸೆಲ್ ಬದಲು CNGನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಸೊ ಅದರಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬ ಎಕನಾಮಿ ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ. ಇವಾಗ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಡೀಸೆಲ್ಲು ಬೇರೆ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಯಿಂದ ತೊಗೊಂಬರ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ನಾವೇ ಈ ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ಸ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಸಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಮು ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಈ BBMPಗೆ ದೊಡ್ಡ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ 198 ವಾರ್ಡ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ 4500 tons ವೆಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. 4500 tons ಆಫ್ ವೆಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಕೂಡ ನಾವೇನಾದರೂ CNG ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಕನ್ವರ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟು 198 ವಾರ್ಡ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಓಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಆಟೋ ಮತ್ತು ಕಾಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು CNGನ ಮಾರ್ಬೋದು. ಅದರಿಂದ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಇನ್ಕಮೇ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಡ್ರೈ ವೇಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ಬಂದರೆ ಪ್ರತಿ ವಾರ್ಡಲ್ಲೂ ಡ್ರೈ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಬೇಕು, ಪ್ರತಿ ವಾರ್ಡಲ್ಲೂ ಡ್ರೈ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರ್ ಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ರಿ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಡ್ರೈ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ, ಇವಾಗ ನಾವು ಡೋರ್ ಟು ಡೋರ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ, ವೆಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಸಪ್ರೇಟಾಗಿ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಡ್ರೈ ವೇಸ್ಟು ಸಪ್ರೇಟಾಗಿ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಆದರೂ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿದ್ದಿರುತ್ತೆ ಕಸ. ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿದ್ದಿರೋ ಕಸನ ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಸಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಡ್ರೈವರ್ಸ್ ಎತ್ಕೊಂಬಂದರೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕಬೇಕು. ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಡ್ರೈ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ರಿ ಪಾಯಿಂಟಲ್ಲೇ ಡ್ರೈ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ತುಂಬ ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ರೀಸೈಕ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. LVP ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, MLP ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. LVP ಮತ್ತು MLP ಎರಡೂ ಕ್ರಷ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವು ಆಸ್ಪಾಲ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಆಸ್ಪಾಲ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ರೋಡ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ LVPಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಇವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ITC ಕಂಪನಿಯವರು ತೊಗೊಂಡೋಗ್ತಾರೆ ಸಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿಗೆ ರೈನಿ ಸೀಸನಲ್ಲಿ 6 months ತೊಗೊಂಡೋಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಇಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಒಂದು ಆಪ್ಷನ್ನು ಸಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿ, ಎರಡನೇ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ನು ರೋಡ್ಗೆ ಹಾಕಬೇಕು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇವಾಗ ಯಾವುದು ರೀಸೈಕಲ್ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿಲ್ಲ. ಇವಾಗ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಟೆಂಡರ್ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಟೆಂಡರ್ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ವೆಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ಗೂ ಹಾಕೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಡ್ರೈ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ಗೂ ಹಾಕೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಇವಾಗ ಬೆಳ್ಳುಳ್ಳಿಗೆ ಎತ್ಕೊಂಡೋದ್ರೆ ಟೆಂಡರ್ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ಬಿಡಲ್ಲ, ವೆಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ KCTCಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಡಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇದಕ್ಕೇನಾದರೂ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಹುಡುಕಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಇಂಡೋರ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಚೆನ್ನೈಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ವೇಲೂರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಮೇಡಮ್ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸಿದ್ದಿಪೇಟ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಬಂದಾಗ ನಾನು ಇಂಡೋರಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೇನೆಂದರೆ 550 ಟನ್ಸ್ ಒಂದೇ ಹತ್ರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, CNG ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. ನರೇಂದ್ರ ಮೋದಿಯವರೇ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು. ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿದೆ. ಅದು ಸಿಟಿ ಬಸ್ಸಸ್ಗೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೈ ಜೋಡಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರಬೇಕು. ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾವೇ ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋದರೆ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ ಏನು ಎನ್ವಿರಾನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇರಬೇಕಲ್ವ, ಬರೀ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟ್ಲಲ್ಲೇ ಇರಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ಮೇಡಮ್.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ನೂ ಇದೆ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಅ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ವಯಬಿಲಿಟಿನೂ ಇದೆ.
ಮೇಡಮ್, ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ವಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. HSR 2016 ನನಗೆ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆದಾಗ ಶಾಂತಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವರು ಮತ್ತು RW ಟೀಮು ಮತ್ತು ಇವರು HSR ಟೋಟಲ್ ಟೀಮಿಂದ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು. ಏನಂದರೆ ಇವಾಗ ನಾನು ಬರೋಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂಚೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ರ್ ಇದ್ದರು. ಡೈಲಿ ತ್ರೀ ಟ್ರಕ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ವೇಸ್ಟು ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಫಿಲ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು, 3 ಕಾಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರ್ ಹೋಗ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು. ನಾನು ಬಂದಮೇಲೆ ಇವರು ಇದು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ರಿ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಗೆ ಮೇಡಮೇ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರು. ಇವರೇನಾದರೂ ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ನ ಅದ್ರ ಕಾಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಹಾಕ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರು. ಸೊ ಅದೇ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಆಯಿತು ನನ್ನ ಮೈಂಡ್ಸೆಟ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ. ನಾನು ಇವಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಕಾಣಿಸಿದ್ರು ನನಗೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಇವಾಗ CND ವೇಸ್ಟು ಸುಮಾರು ಟ್ರಕ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಂಕ್ರೀಟು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸರಿ ನಾನು ಹೋಗಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಫಾಲೋ ಅಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಿ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಬಂದು ಅನ್ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಅದು ಟ್ರಕ್ 3000 ರುಪೀಸ್ ದುಡ್ಡು ಥರ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ ನನಗೆ. ಸೊ ಅದು ಮೇಡಮ್ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ನಾನು ಕಲ್ತಿರೋದು.
ಬ್ರೈನ್ ವಾಷಿಂಗ್ನ. ಸೊ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು, ದಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ವೆರಿ. ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್, ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ವಯಬಿಲಿಟಿನೂ ಇದೆ.
ಸಾರಿ, ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ವಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದೆ, ಮರ್ತದೆ. ಏನಾಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಫಿಲ್ ಮೂರು ಗಾಡಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಮುಂಚೆ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ರು. ನಾನು ಬಂದಮೇಲೆ ಇವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ನ ಹಾಕ್ದಾಗ ದುಡ್ಡು ಹಾಕ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದಾರಲ್ವ. ಆವಾಗ ನಾನೇನು ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಡ್ರೈವೇಜ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರನ್ನ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಕನ್ವೇಯರ್ ಬೆಲ್ಟ್ಸು, ಬೇಲಿಂಗ್ ಮಿಷಿನು, ಅವ್ರಿಗೇನೇನು ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಬೇಕೋ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ರಿಕವರಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ವಿ. ಆವಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು, 3 ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ 1 ಕಾಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರ್ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ನಮ್ಮದು 5 ವಾರ್ಡಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ನಾನು ಏನು ಇಷ್ಟಪಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದರೆ, ನಮ್ಮದು 5 ವಾರ್ಡಲ್ಲಿ ಎವ್ರಿ 3 ಡೇಸ್ಗೆ 1 ದಿನ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಫಿಲ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಇನ್ ಎ ಮಂತ್ 10 ಕಾಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಸ್ಯಾನಿಟ್ರಿ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ನು ಬೇರೆ ಝೋನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಝೋನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ನು. ಅದು ಏನಾದರೂ ಆದರೆ 1 ವಾರಕ್ಕೆ 1 ಗಾಡಿ ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಇದರಿಂದ ಏನಾಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ, ಮೇಡಮ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ವ, 3 ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದ್ಸಲಿ ಗಾಡಿ ಹೋದರೆ ನನಗೆ 3000 ರುಪೀಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಒಂದು ದಿನ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಫಿಲ್ಗೆ ಹೋದರೆ. ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಡೇ ಹೋದರೆ 90,000 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. 3 ಡೇಸ್ಗೆ ಒಂದ್ಸಲಿ ಹೋದಾಗ 30,000 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಪರ್ ಮಂತು. ಸೊ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಸೇವ್ 60,000. ಸೊ ಈ 60,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ದುಡ್ಡು ಮಿಕ್ಕತ್ತೆ. ಪ್ಲಸ್ಸು ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಫಿಲ್ಗೂ ಹೋಗೋದು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡ್ದಂಗೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ಗೆ, ನಾನು ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂದರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ನಾವು ದುಡಿಯೋದಾಗಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಫಿಲ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗೋದು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ರದ್ದು ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಬೇಕು. ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ Rupesh. I have one question for you again on the same lines that I asked Rupesh. Is it really possible for us to manage all the ward waste within the ward?
Yeah, in fact, we are running these models in different places in Kerala and also now in Chennai. In Chennai, we have government had built micro composting centers which can handle, I think, roughly the waste in one ward or part of a ward. So there they collect both the garden waste and also the wet waste. So unfortunately, because of a faulty design and faulty program, almost 200 micro composting centers built in Chennai are non-functional. I think none of them are functioning. So we wanted to prove that it is possible to run. So we have taken up one in T Nagar with the help of CSR support, and for last more than 2 years we are running it, and we get both wet waste and also the garden waste in that area, and we are able to effectively compost both the garden waste and wet waste. And this because the whole concept is to make quality compost, because Sanjay, you are telling about compost. A lot of our composting initiatives are not really composting. We are only dehydrating the organic material. So when you dehydrate, what happens is that the end product is not useful to a farmer. But whereas when we really do an active aerobic composting process, the biggest advantage, there is no methane. We have checked this. There is no methane during composting. And after the composting, you get a very high quality compost. And we are able to give this to the farmers. And in some of our composting initiatives in Kerala, we are also composting the non-veg waste along with all this other waste. So the quality of the compost is very high. So there is a big demand for the compost. They are not able to meet the demand. And as I mentioned earlier, we have to rebuild the carbon in soil. See, otherwise, Jaggi was there, who is the Isha. His prediction is that another 30, 40 years, the entire soil in the world is going to be non-productive. So soil carbon is something we cannot afford to neglect. We have such a huge life in soil which needs carbon. And all the other basic characters of the soil, that is the air-water balance, the soil temperature, water infiltration, the nutrient recycling, everything is dependent on carbon in soil. So if there is no carbon, the soil is dead.
With that really, really important statement, I'm going to kind of call it a close on the poll. I think we've left a lot of good messages that we all have to remember. My poll to you, and I know it's a difficult question, but I just want you to select one or the other. In decentralized waste management, to achieve it, who's more important?
See, in Kerala, because the public, they got to dismantle all the dump yards. There is no dump yard in Kerala today.
Yeah, so it's citizens. What's your poll? What's your answer?
How many say citizens? So,
Great. So I like to believe that it should be a fine mix of both. I'm cheating.
so
Sir, your answer. What is your answer?
Political will comes from where? They are interested interested in votes. They are interested in votes. The vote is the biggest thing in democracy. So when people are interested in having a livable environment, sanitation, naturally every politician and bureaucrat, starting from Prime Minister down below, will be interested in answering and getting the votes and to maintain the health of the community.
So you're saying citizens?
Citizens.
He's the last word. Sir, I'm not asking you that question. Heltira. Oh, wonderful.
I think you have 2 eyes, 2 legs, 2 hands. So citizens are important and government is also important.
Thank you so much, panelists. That was a very, very nice discussion.
I would like to say,
about water, right? So are we going to plan in future the same kind of roundtable conference, and how important, preservative of water is also equally important? Because I know this session is primary SWM. I wish to see LWM. So in the down, please think about that. Just want to bring to your notice, I know you are all thinking beyond the out of box. I think this is also as equally important resource which, as Sir has told, right, carbonization and decarbonization. Unless there is a liquid water H2O, nothing can, chemically work out there. Thank you.
I want to say something, Sandhya. Rupesh is like owner's pride and neighbor's envy. Many people have asked Rupesh, including the head office of BBMP, asking, Innondu ward madi, illa sir, very clear. His thoughts are very clear. Nanu Bommanhalli bittu baralla ache. He's very clear in his
Ali
thoughts.
yaru brainwash madakillalla.
No. Even if brainwash alla, brain tagdu idu itru hogalla, one thing. Second thing is, we have a habit of, HCF has a habit of asking our MLA something or the other for his birthday. So this panel gave me a thought for 2024 December 12th. We want a bio-CNG plant which will make Bommanhalli constituency self-sustained, sir. Because composting is always, has been a challenge in KCDC. Whenever there is some election, council election or MLA election, MP election, everything citizens around, it does stink, and that is one time where people, so making it a CNG plant, in lines with the central government also, will definitely attract not only Bangalore, citizens across to see Bommanhalli as a model. So my HSR Citizen Forum's request to you, sir, by 2024, your birthday, we want a bio-CNG plant in KCDC. And third thing, I may be on the panel, but all the HSR Citizen Forum, people who have dreamt the same thing what I dreamt, all those efforts, the saying is that without, for a progress or success, without sacrifice, it is just not possible. So many of them here have sacrificed so many things, including their family time, to make this happen. I may be today on this panel, but a lot of effort went into a lot of citizens. One hats off to everyone who have contributed.
Thank you all of you. We request you to take your seats.
Thank you, panelists. On that note, there are many RWAs who are present here. Of course, the volunteers have worked, and of course, we have Rupesh, and of course, we have MLA sir's support. I request all the RWAs to kindly stand up. We couldn't have done it without your support. Please stand up, sir. All the RWAs, everyone, please give a round of applause. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. We move on to the felicitation. So we would like to specifically recognize citizens, officials who have gone out of their way to make the model successful. To do that, I invite on stage our chief guests for today. First and foremost, our Honorable MLA, Shri Satish Reddy sir. Please, ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊತೀನಿ. Can we just have 2 chairs? Yeah, okay. ಅವ್ರು ಕರೀತೀನಿ sir. A fourth time MLA of Bomanali constituency. Like Dr. Shanti said, every year on his birthday we've been asking him things and he's been providing, whether it was home composting kits, lane composters, temple composters, leaf composters, and of course a composting learning center, Swachagra Kalika Kendra, and we couldn't have done it without his support. These are the things he has done. There are things he has not done, like Shanti said, which he didn't encourage defaulters. Anybody who called him, without context, he would say, I cannot help you. So he's not interfered with a lot of enforcement activities that has happened. And he's, of course, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಜನಪ್ರಿಯ ಶಾಸಕರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. I request Dr. Meenakshi Bharat to kindly, I request Dr. B.N.S. Ratnakar sir to kindly felicitate Shri Satish Reddy. Karitini sir, Karitini. So instead of a flower bouquet, we have a vegetable bouquet. And it's a towel and not a shawl. Now I call on to Dr. A.N. Yellappa Reddy sir. He was one of the first people to arrive at the venue. We all really appreciate your punctuality. Retired IFS officer, he was posted in Karnataka and served in various capacities in the state. His area of interest was conservation of natural forests and protection of endangered animals and plants in the Western Ghats. He has participated in and even hosted several national and international conferences, has presented over 150 technical papers on tropical forests and authored a number of books. During his tenure as Conservator of Forests and later as Secretary, Government of Karnataka, Department of Ecology, Environment and Forests, he worked extensively for restoration, protection of lakes and rivers of the state. In recognition of his expert service, Bangalore University has conferred upon him the honorary degree of Doctor of Letters. Okay. We know him as a warrior, and there's still a lot of fight remaining in him. So welcome, thank you for gracing our occasion, Dr. Reddy. And we request our MLA, Shri Satish Reddy, to felicitate him. We now have the felicitation of a few volunteers, and I'll just take their names and why we are felicitating them. First of all, Madhu and Bojama, resident of Sector 3, please come forward. Madhu? Not there? Okay, he's not there, but I'll tell why we want to recognize him. They basically came forward to have lane composters in front of their home, and 2 lane composters have been sponsored by First American. They were installed a year back, and the couple have been looking after it. They have a beautiful garden too. So we just wanted to recognize regular residents who want to have lane composters, wet waste being dumped in lane composters in front of their homes. So. Next is Rupa Hari Prasad. Is Rupa here? Similarly, Rupa is the resident of Sector 4 of HSR who's come forward to have lane composters in front of her house. They were sponsored by First American. Next, Padma Shri Mahesh. Padma Shri is an eco-warrior for many years. One of our earliest lane composters was installed in front of her house way back in 2018. Since then, she's actively taken care of the composters, escalated issues with regular feedback, and helping us streamline the process. We would like to recognize Padma Shri's achievement. Thank you, Dr. Meenakshi. Thank you, Padma Shri. Next, Ravi Kumar. Sonia Sharma. Dhruv Kaundinya. Okay. So Dhruv is a young student. He's from BMS College. He was a key person to have a low plastic kadlekai parshe. And 2 lane composters are in front of his house in Uttaralli, sponsored by CWS project of Sahas. We would like Sri Rupesh to kindly felicitate him. So we want more and more youngsters to get inspired, to get involved in the movement. Next is a man who sees money in the garbage trucks that are going. Shri HN Rupesh Kumar, please come forward. I request our MLA sir to kindly felicitate him. Going beyond the call of duty to ensure that less waste goes to landfill, he and his team of supervisors have led the HSR, not only HSR, the Bomanali zone, in the forefront of the Swachh Sarvekshan rankings. Next, I request Shri Prem Kumar sir and Chidanand sir. Are you here? They are the temple trustees of Varsiddhi Vinayaka Temple. They've been instrumental in segregating the temple waste and installing and managing the composter there, not just with puja flowers, ensuring no plastic goes in, and also a huge supporter of all our eco initiatives, right from Eco Ganesha to recently we had a Sankranti Sambrama also celebrated in the Vinayaka temple premises. It's in Sector 7. I invite all of you to visit the temple. I request Sri Rupesh to kindly felicitate him. I request Chandrasekhar sir to kindly come forward and do the next felicitation, please. Next is Vinod. He's our senior health inspector. Don't go by his shy and silent demeanor. He's, for the last so many years, he's been leading the enforcement in HSR, stood his ground, stood strong, and even sometimes took help of police when it came to it. So we would really like to recognize. He's also been supporting with providing support from commercials for things like hoardings and pamphlets. Thank you, Chandrasekhar sir. I request Ratnakar sir to come to recognize the next team. This is the team of This is a team of junior health inspectors. It's not just about starting the penalizing, it's about sustaining the change. And these three have done that, continuously monitoring, running penalty drives, prompt action to every driver and supervisor complaints. So I would like to call Satyavani. Both layers. Shri Srinivas. Thank you, junior health inspectors. Next we have two more. One is Marshall, Shri Venkatesh. So not just Venkatesh, but all the marshals have been forthcoming and helping us in night patrolling, enforcing, and we would like to thank all of them. Next is First American and representatives from the company. So they have sponsored 8 lane composters, and not just composters, they sponsored for maintenance, the post of the operations also. So we would like to recognize that. Now I request our MLA, Shri Satish Reddy, to kindly address us, say a few words. Sorry, I missed one name. The original, the first Joint Commissioner who worked with us in HSR layout, Shri Janappa sir. We want to recognize the movement he started. One more, sir. I'd like to recognize Jayashree Madam on behalf of all of us for giving us the venue from HSR Club. I request you to kindly come forward. So MLA sir has had an operation. In spite of that, he joined us for Sankranti celebrations, and today also he's here. So I'm going to request him to please kindly sit down and address us.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಗುಡ್ ಈವ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ. ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ಯಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ ಅವರು ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗಿಯಾಗಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ತುಂಬ ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಕೆರೆಗಳ ಒಂದು ಜೀವ ತುಂಬುವಂಥ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು, ಮರಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನು ತನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಕಳಂತೆ ಪ್ರೀತಿಸುವಂಥ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ, ಕಾಡುಗಳನ್ನು ಬೆಳೆಸೋವಂಥದ್ದು ಮತ್ತು ಜನಗಳಿಗೆ ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ ಹೇಳುವಂಥ ಒಬ್ಬ ತುಂಬ ಹಿರಿಯ ಮುತ್ಸದ್ದಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪುಣ್ಯ. ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗಿಯಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಜೋರಾದ ಚಪ್ಪಾಳೆಗೆ ಅಭಿನಂದನೆ. ತುಂಬ ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ನಾನು ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ತುಂಬ ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಅವರಿಂದ. ನನಗೆ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಸಂತೋಷ ಆಗುವಂಥದ್ದು, ನನ್ನ ಅರ್ಧ ಕೆಲಸನ ಸುಲಭ ಮಾಡಿರೋಂಥ ಅನೇಕರು ಇಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ ಫೋರಮ್ ಮತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿನ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ನು ಮತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿನ ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಅರ್ಧ ಬರ್ಡನ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡೋವಂಥದ್ದು. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಕಾಯಿಲೆ ಬಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಾಕ್ಟ್ರ್ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗ್ತೇವೆ, ನಮಗೇನೋ ಜ್ವರ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಅಥವಾ ಇನ್ನೇನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ. ಆದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಶಾಂತಿ ಜ್ವರ ಬರೋದೇ ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ತಡೆಯುವಂಥ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊರಟಿದೆ. ಅದೇ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಕಾಯಿಲೆ ಬರೋವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನು ತಡೆಯುವಂಥದ್ದೇ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ನಾವು ದಿನನಿತ್ಯ ಉಸಿರಾಡೋವಂಥದ್ದು, ನಾವೇನಾದರೂ ಬ್ರೀತ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಅಂದರೆ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಊಟ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೂ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದು 2-3 ದಿನ ಬದುಕ್ತೇವೆ. ಆದರೆ ಗಾಳಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಯಾರೂ ಬದುಕಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅಂಥ ಗಾಳಿ ಸ್ವಚ್ಛವಾಗಿರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂಥ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಗಳು ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಆಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಕೂಡ ಸುಲಭವಾಗಿ ಜೀವನ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ. ಇವತ್ತು ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ, ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲೈಮೇಟ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿದೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಇನಿಷಿಯೇಟಿವ್ ತೊಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಧಾನಿಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಕಳೆದ 2 ತಿಂಗಳಿಂದ ಅವರು ದುಬೈಯಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಪಾಲ್ಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದರು. ಅಂದರೆ 2030 ಅಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿಯನ್ನು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋ ರೀತಿ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಭಾರತ ತುಂಬ ದಿಟ್ಟ ಹೆಜ್ಜೆಯನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಆ ಒಂದು ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಇವತ್ತು CNG ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವರು 2024 ಡಿಸೆಂಬರ್ಗೆ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಖಂಡಿತ ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ನಾನು ಬರ್ತ್ಡೇಗೆ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ, 2024 ಡಿಸೆಂಬರ್ ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಸುದ್ದಿಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡಲಿ. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಸೇರಿ ಆ CNG ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡೋವಂಥ ಪ್ರಾಮಾಣಿಕ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ನಾನು ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮೊಟ್ಟಿಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಅನೇಕ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳು ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಇದೆ. ತುಂಬ ಜನ ಅನ್ಕೋತಾರೆ, ನಾವು ಅದು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಇದು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಆದರೆ ಏನೂ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ಸಾಧನೆ ಮಾಡೋವಂಥದ್ದು ಅಪಾರ ಇದೆ. ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ ಫೋರಮ್ ತುಂಬ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ಜನಗಳ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೂ ಸಾಲದು. ಆದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ BBMP ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ನಮ್ಮ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಸಪೋರ್ಟನ್ನು ಹಿಂದೆನೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ, ಮುಂದೇನೂ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಸುಲಭ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವತ್ತು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ HSR ನಂಬರ್ 1, ಅದು ಸೆಗ್ರಿಗೇಷನಲ್ಲಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಪ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಅಂದರೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡೋವಂಥದ್ದು. ಆದರೆ ಇಡೀ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಆ ರೀತಿ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನನ್ನ ಆಲೋಚನೆ. ಬರೀ ಬೊಮ್ಮನಹಳ್ಳಿ ಮತ್ತು HSR ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇಡೀ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಆಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಗೌರವ ಸಿಗುವಂಥದ್ದು. ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿದ್ದೇವೆ, ನಾವು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರನ್ನು ಪ್ರತಿನಿಧಿಸ್ತೇವೆ, ರಾಜ್ಯವನ್ನು ಪ್ರತಿನಿಧಿಸ್ತೇವೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಇಡೀ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಈ ರೀತಿ ಆಗಲಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ ಫೋರಮ್ಗೆ. ಬೇರೆ ರಾಜ್ಯಕ್ಕೂ ಹೋಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಡೀ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರನ್ನು ಅವರು ಸ್ವಚ್ಛ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಅವರ ಸಲಹೆಗಳ ಮೂಲಕ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ವಾರ್ಡ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋವಂಥದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮುಕ್ತ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇದೆ. ನಾನು ಕೂಡ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಇವತ್ತು ಈ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಚರ್ಚೆ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿದೆ, ತುಂಬ ಅರ್ಥಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿದೆ. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ನಾವು ದಿನನಿತ್ಯ ಊಟ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ, ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಕಸವನ್ನು ಬೀದಿಗೆ ಎಸೆಯುವಂಥ ಕೆಲಸ ಹಿಂದೆ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು. ಪೆನಾಲ್ಟಿ ಹಾಕಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬ ಜನ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರು. ನನಗೆ ಆಗಾಗ ತುಂಬ ಕಾಲ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದು, ಪೆನಾಲ್ಟಿ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ, ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಕಸನೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಈ ರೀತಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ ಆಗಾಗ ಕಾಲ್ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು. ನಾನು 1-2 ಕಾಲ್ ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಇದು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದೆ. ಆದರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯಿತು ನನಗೆ. ಅದಾದಮೇಲೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅದು ತುಂಬ ಬುದ್ಧಿವಂತರು, ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ಸು ಕೂಡ ತಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯ ಕಸವನ್ನು ಬೀದಿಗೆ ಎಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗೋವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನು ನಾನು ನೋಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಯಾರೋ ಬಡವರು, ಅನ್ಎಜುಕೇಟೆಡ್ಡು, ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಸೆಗ್ರಿಗೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದಲ್ಲ, ತುಂಬ ಬುದ್ಧಿವಂತರು ಕೂಡ ಕಾರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಕಸವನ್ನು ಎಸ್ದು ಹೋಗೋವಂಥವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋ ವಿಷಯ ಇಷ್ಟೇ, ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಕಸವನ್ನು ರಸ್ತೆಗೆ ಎಸೆಯೋ ಅಂಥ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ನಮಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ನಾವು ಫೈನ್ ಹಾಕಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲೇನು ಮುಲಾಜು ಕೂಡ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾಡೋಣ. ನಾವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ BBMP ಅಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ಸ್, ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಅಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ಸನ್ನು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿ ನೋಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಆದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ BBMPಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ MLA ಸರಿ ಇದ್ದರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ MP ಸರಿ ಇದ್ದರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟರ್ ಸರಿ ಇದ್ದರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಅಫಿಷಿಯಲು ಸರಿ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಕರಪ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ತೊಂದರೆ ಕೊಡದೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋಂಥ ನಮ್ಮ BBMP ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಟ್ಟಾದಾಗ ಮತ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ವಿಷನ್ ಇದೆ, ಒಂದು ಗುರಿ ಇದೆ, ನಾವು ತಲುಪಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಗುರಿ ಇದೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋಂಥದ್ದು ನನ್ನ ಪುಣ್ಯ, ನನ್ನ ಭಾಗ್ಯ. ಮತ್ತು ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ 4 ಬಾರಿ ಒಂದು MLA ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಅಂತ ನಗರದಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಕಷ್ಟ ಇದೆ. ಜನಗಳ ವಿಶ್ವಾಸವನ್ನು ಪಡಿಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬ ಕಷ್ಟ ಇದೆ. ನಂಬಿಕೆ, ವಿಶ್ವಾಸ ಮತ್ತು ಕರ್ತವ್ಯ, ಈ ಮೂರನ್ನು ನಿಭಾಯಿಸಿದಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ಜನ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾರು ಕೂಡ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ನಮಗೆ ಭಾರ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದಾರೆ MLA ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ ನಾವು ರಾಜಕಾರಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬಾರ್ದು ಅನ್ನೋದು ನನ್ನ ಆಲೋಚನೆ. ಆ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂಥ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋವಂಥ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ನಾನು ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮೊಟ್ಟಿಗಿರ್ತೇನೆ. ತುಂಬ ಜನ ನಮ್ಮ HSR, ನಮ್ಮ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರ ಹಸಿರಾಗಿರಬೇಕು, ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ತಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಇನಿಷಿಯೇಟಿವ್ ತೊಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಾರಿಯರ್ ರೀತಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ, ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಕರೆದು ಮಾತಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಮಾಡಿದಂಥ ತಮಗೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಧನ್ಯವಾದ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೊ ಮಚ್.
We have one more felicitation. I request our MLA sir to kindly felicitate the member of HSR Citizen Forum, Jayanti Shrikant. She has been working with DULT, Department of Urban Land Transport, to make sure the feeder buses in HSR are working not only just now, but for the last 3 years. The last 3 years she's been working, and she single-handedly managed to mobilize a team of volunteers and create hype about HSR feeder bus. Is there anybody here who doesn't know about it? Everyone knows about everyone. Is there anybody who's using HSR feeder bus? Yes, so full house, it's working, it's running full house during peak hours. So this was a 6-month project, 6-month pilot. Only if we had proof to them that enough people used it, would the department continue. And we're happy to say that the department has agreed to continue the feeder buses service. The MLA sir needs to leave, so request everyone to please applaud. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you sir for joining us. We request everyone to kindly be seated. We have saved the best for the last. So every time we've heard Shri Yellappa Reddy sir talk, we've always been inspired. We've always had goosebumps. So now we're going to have. Sorry, before we have the dessert, we need to have one more thing. We want to felicitate Sahana, who helped us make the movie and document the best practices of HSR. Sahana, please come forward. I request Dr. Meenakshi to kindly felicitate Sahana. I request everyone to kindly be seated. I request everyone to kindly be seated, please. Vasu, Balaji, can you get people to please sit here? ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ? ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಂತಿದ್ದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಹೇಳಿ. ಬನ್ನಿ ಸರ್, ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. Thank you. This is I request Dr. Yellappa Reddy to kindly say a few words. Sir, please seated, sir. ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಸರ್.
Hello. I request our MLA sir to felicitate Manivannan IAS, who was here during COVID. A few words to say, very familiar name where we all need to remember his name. He used to be one point coordinator for the government, who was during COVID responsibility for the Bommanalli constituency. He used to work closely providing the facilities and caring units, and he used to be very helpful during the time.
ಮಣಿವಣ್ಣನ್ ಸಾರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಜನ ಕೇಳಿರ್ತೀರ. ತುಂಬ ಹಿರಿಯ IAS ಆಫೀಸರು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿರೋಂಥ ಆನೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫೀಸರು. ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಚಪ್ಪಾಳೆ ಹೊಡಿಬೋದು. ತುಂಬ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಷಿಯನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ, ಆಫೀಸರ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಜನಗಳ ವಿಶ್ವಾಸವನ್ನು ಪಡೆಯುವಂಥದ್ದು ತುಂಬ ಕಡಿಮೆ. ಮಣಿವಣ್ಣನ್ ಸಾರು ಕೋವಿಡಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನಮ್ಮೊಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಅವರ ಮಕ್ಕಳು, ಅವರ ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆಯಲ್ಲಿದ್ದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಭಾಗದ ಜನಗಳ ಒಂದು ಕಷ್ಟದ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ತಪ್ಪಾಗಲ್ಲ. ರಿಯಲಿ ನಾನು ಹಾರ್ಟ್ಫುಲ್ಲಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ, ಮಣಿವಣ್ಣನ್ ಸರ್ ಜೊತೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋದು ನನ್ನ ಪುಣ್ಯ. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಸರ್, ನೀವು ಆರಾಮಾಗಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಸರ್. ಸರ್ ನೀವು ನೀವು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಸರ್. ಒಬ್ಬ IAS ಆಫೀಸರು ತುಂಬ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ಜನಗಳ ಕಷ್ಟಗಳನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೋಂಥ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಹಾಕಲಿ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಧನೆ ಮಾಡಿ ತೋರಿಸೋಂಥ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ. ಅವರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ ಕಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಫೇಲ್ಯೂರ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಮತ್ತು ಜನ ಸ್ನೇಹಿ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಯಾರಿಗೂ ತೊಂದರೆ ಕೊಡೋಲ್ಲ ಅವರು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಕೆಲಸ ಆಗಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ ಆ ಒಂದು ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿಗೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಡೆಫಿನೆಟಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು, ಯಾವ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೂ ಬಿಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂಥ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ನನಗೂ ಸಂತೋಷ ತಂದಿದೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇಡೀ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲೇ ಎಲ್ಲ ತುಂಬ ಜನ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಂದ ಪ್ರತಿನಿಧಿಗಳು. ಬಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಟಾಪ್ 1 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಇದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಅವರ ಎಫರ್ಟು ಕೂಡ ₹1 ಕೂಡ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಅವರು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದರು, ಮತ್ತು ತುಂಬ ಜನ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನಲ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರ ಟೀಮ್ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಈ ಒಂದು ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲಸಗಳನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದಾಗಲಿ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಯಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಮತ್ತು ತಾವು ಕೂಡ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಸಂತೋಷ ಆಗಿದೆ ಸರ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಹೇಬ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಅವಕಾಶ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿತ್ತು. ನೀವು ಬಿಲೀವ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಟೈನರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಚಿಕ್ಕದ ಮನೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಸಿದ್ರು ಸಾಹೇಬರು. 7 ಗಂಟೆ 7 o'clock ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಗೆಟ್ ಅಪ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಕಮ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಷನ್. ಸರ್ ನಾನು ಮರೆಯಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಈ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ 18 hours ನಾವು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ. ಮತ್ತು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅನ್ MLA ಹೂ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ವರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಪೀಪಲ್, ಫಾರ್ ದ ಪೀಪಲ್. ಇದು HSR ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಲ್ವಾ, ಇಫ್ ದ MLA ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಪ್ರಿವಿಲೇಜ್ ಟು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಯು ಸರ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೊ ಮಚ್ ಸರ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್.
Let me share my experience. I think you remember me. I'm a president of the RMRW across the Air Force near Sanjay Nagar entrance. When I came back from US, I started in 92. There were a lot of trees in our area. We also planted a lot of trees there. I approached so many commissioners, so many. Every time they come, they bring truck, they chop off all the trees. I said, because of the electric line, I went to this secretary's level. I met almost the 5th BESCOM commissioner. I met him. I explained him, sir, every time they come and cut our trees, it feels like they're chopping my head. Immediately, what is your problem? We are ready to invest that ABC cable. Because of the electrical, they chop off so much, they don't allow trees to grow. That's how bad it was. With his support, he asked me, are you ready to chip in 50% from your side and government side? I said immediately yes. Within 1 month it was implemented. I was so happy. Now you can come and see our area is totally, if you go on to the Google, if you put in RMB RW association, you don't see houses, only trees. So I don't know whether you're
Sir, we request you to work closely with us for waste management also. Your ideologies are much more required to replicate this across. Yeah, the minute Manivannan, the name comes for me, dynamism and down to earth. These are the two things I define, sir.
Sir, I just want to know, tell him that whether he remembers or not. I was the COVID warrior in Fortis Hospital, and we had a lot of face problems. Wing Commander Naga Subramaniam, sir. I remember. So he is the one person I used to approach for any problems during that time. It was uncertain times for everybody. And with that, with fighting the war of COVID and also administrative fight we had to fight. But he is the one person who stood with us and he helped us, and my gratefulness. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
ನನ್ನ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಕಾರ್ತಿಕೇಯನ್ ಬನ್ನಿ, ಅವರೇ ನಮಗೆ ಬರಬೇಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರು. ಸರ್ ತಮ್ಮ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಫ್ಯಾನ್ ಸರ್ ಅವರು. ಬಿಗ್ ಫ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಫ್ ಯು ಸರ್. ತುಂಬ ತುಂಬ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ಐ ಆಮ್ ಹಾನರ್ಡ್, ಪ್ರಿವಿಲೇಜ್ಡ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್.
Thank you. So we request Dr. Yellappa Reddy sir to kindly speak.
ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನನ್ನ ಥ್ರೋಟ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದೆ. ವಿದುರ ನೀತಿನಲ್ಲಿ
Sir, one nimsha, sir, one nimsha. I request everyone to kindly maintain silence and be seated, please.
ವಿದುರ ನೀತಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಬಲ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾರು? ವಿದುರ ನೋಬಲ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು? ನೋಬಲ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾರು? ಆ ನೊಬಲಿಟಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇನೆ ವಿದುರ. is not a great scientist, it is not a great engineer, it is not a great scholar, it is not somebody who claims that he is great. It is a person who leads his life with concern to the people. I have seen this nobility among almost with every citizen here who participated, especially the panel discussions. I was really thrilled the way they have expressed their views very eloquently, beautifully about the activities required, about the involvement, about how to get the support, how to get the support of the politicians, bureaucrats, starting from the lowest man to the topmost. This is what required for a responsible citizens. I would like to share few things. In 1945, Mahatma Gandhi, after independence, before independence, he has written a beautiful article in Young India what is required in India is sanitation more than independence. If the sanitation is not there, there's no meaning for democracy. Democracy means to maintain the sanitation. A beautiful article in Young India, if you go there and you can get the details. As an environment, so one ನಿಮಿಷ ಇರಪ್ಪ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾತಾಡೋದು only 1 minute, Shanti. So what is required today in the panel discussions, the most important things which what I could make out is decentralized conversion of organic matter into a resourceful living entity to maintain the health of the Mother Earth. Mother Earth health is most important not only for human beings, for every living creature. Very beautifully they have explained, they discussed. So the Mother Earth today is bleeding, weeping, crying, and losing her fertility. There are so many fertility centers in HSR layout itself. How many fertility centers are there? So imagine what happened to the food we eat? What happened to the systems or food or whatever it is? Why so many fertility centers have been, how much of, what is the money? What is the amount they charge? No experience. So, as a, basically I'm a farmer, soil scientist. I did my post-graduation in soil, and I'm a forest officer. All of you should know wherever we are living today is Gaja Aranya. Whatever the entire South India is a Gaja Aranya. Elephants. It's a habitat for elephants. We one and a half decade, you may not believe Sandhya is to dictate in the court hall what to be done, what are the responsibilities for the bureaucrats. The entire bureaucracy secretaries used to sit there and they used to listen with great attention all our presentations about advocacy, about the accountability. Accountability, we insisted. And this judge who is sitting by our side is to clearly warn them. Unfortunately, the corrupt officials bribed them, and Lok Adalat, which we were conducting, I was a technical advisor to the Lok Adalat. So great judges.
I'd like to invite Ratnakar sir to felicitate the president of the HSR club.
ಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಸರ್ ಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸರ್
ನಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಮೈಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು
Sir, thank you so much for the venue because it means a lot and it makes a lot of difference.
Yeah, I'd like to actually give my vote of thanks. So, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and fellow participants, it's my privilege to propose a heartfelt vote of thanks on this special occasion. I extend our deepest gratitude to our keynote speaker, Dr. Thomas Isaac, for his wonderful message. A big thank you to our chief guests, Honorable MLA Shri Satish Reddy and Dr. Yellappa Reddy for taking time out to grace this occasion. And also like to thank all our special guests for this evening, Manivannan sir, Mr. Shailesh Kumar, who's Senior Manager from Central Bank of India, who's been very supportive in many activities, Mr. Sashidhar from Canara Bank, Janappa sir, the Commissioner, Joint Commissioner for BBMP, and thank you all the special guests this evening, including all the BBMP officials. I extend my sincere appreciation to our panelists, Dr. Joshi Cherian, Renuka Konchadi, Rupesh Kumar, and Dr. Shanti Thumala for their time and valuable insights. I'd also like to thank all our guests from various institutions, resident welfare associations, and corporates for being a part of this event today. A special thanks to all the solution providers, partner organizations, and our passionate SWM volunteers and people from the press. I'd like to mention our gratitude to Sahana and team from Spotlight Kannada Creations for the fantastic video that you have created for us. Our heartfelt thanks to the HSR Club for this lovely venue. The felicitation gifts that you have, that we are distributing are from Farm Fresh Bangalore. Thanks, Smita, for being a wonderful MC for this evening. And last but not the least, the entire team at SWMRT and HSR Citizen Forum, the organizing team that has been working behind the scenes, without whose efforts this event would not have been possible. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for being part of this memorable occasion, and please join us for high tea. Thank you. The session comes to an end. Kindly join us for high tea.